Hey, in this video, I'm going to tell you about one of the best places to live in all of Charlotte. It is a hidden little gem. It has nice, large private lots. It's within a reasonable commute to uptown. It's a little bit more affordable as well. Lots of other things to talk about too. So stay tuned and let's get into it. All right, so Mint Hill is one of the 7 sort of towns within Mecklenburg County other than the city of Charlotte. And it's a small town. It's on the east side. So if you look at the map, there's that 485 loop that basically circles all of Charlotte, and Mint Hill is going to be right at like 4 o'clock basically on that loop right around Charlotte. You know, depending on traffic, maybe 25-30 minute commute. It can get a little bit longer, which I'll talk about, but it has really good proximity. It is right next to Charlotte. So you can get into uptown. You can get pretty much wherever you need to go from Mint Hill. Now, when I think of Mint Hill, one of the top features that it has are the lot sizes. The lots are really large there. It's just an area that has not been developed just yet to its capacity. So we are seeing a lot of new construction happening out there, but it's still in its infancy. It's going to be a little bit more affordable for most people. So what you would spend inside the city of Charlotte or close to it, you're going to get a lot more in Mint Hill. So that is one of the big benefits. And it's also going to give you the ability to look at homes that have just larger lots. You know, it's pretty common for there to be like a half-acre plus lot in neighborhoods, which you just don't see. I mean, nowadays, as you know, like there'll be at least three homes on that same half-acre lot, sometimes 4. And so that is a big plus, you know, if you like that. It's going to give you more of that like traditional feel of a neighborhood. And so if you are someone who likes those sorts of things, you know, that is a really attractive draw for many. The other benefits here are it has a really good public school rating system. All like the elementary, middle, and high school are all basically like ranked as like a B or B minus. And actually the elementary stands out because I think it's ranked as 10 out of 10 according to gradeschools.com. It's also within a pretty short commute. You can get to some of the top ranked private schools in not only all of Charlotte, but really all of the state. And so that is another big plus. If you are looking at the map, you're gonna see tons of green space. Like there's the Stevens Creek Nature Preserve. It's like 280 acres of protected wildlife. And so you can hop on a trail or just go out for a walk and just enjoy nature. It's that actually is one of my favorite things about all of the Carolinas or the Charlotte area in particular. Is like there's a concerted effort to create and increasingly create more greenways. And so no matter where you live in the area, you're going to have access to at least some sort of greenway, nature preserve, nature trails, things like that. And so it's a smaller town. So like they say there's a downtown. I wouldn't really classify the downtown area in Mint Hill as like a downtown. You know, you don't have a strip of stores with sidewalks and people walking around. There are a lot of retail shops though that are there, not only now, but it's continuing to grow. You know, there are a lot of little retail spaces that are already there. So there are lots of little smaller food places, some that have been there for years. And, you know, some of the newer ones, those newer, you know, franchises, if you will, you know, so they're now for things like shopping, like grocery shopping, you actually have like 4 grocery stores within that mile stretch of the main street or downtown area. It's Mint Hill Matthews Road. You know, you've got Harris Teeter, Publix, Food Line, and Aldi's basically all right there. All right. So some of these other places in Mint Hill that people like, you have like the Forest Trail House Cafe, 464. They have like local craft beers, cider seltzers. Jaybirds is sort of like one of those older staple mom and pop restaurants. You also have a place right on that main section, the Hill Bar and Grill. I heard the burgers there are great. Check it out. Let's see, there's a farmer's market in the downtown. And so lots of, you know, there's a few little shops. I wouldn't think of Mint Hill as like this destination, you know, those are going to be retail spaces that people who live there in Mint Hill are going to be using. You know, Charlotte has a lot of shopping in general that, you know, if you really need to get to some of the other, you know, larger stores or just unique things, you know, you're certainly going to travel for that. You can go to an area like Ballantyne, you know, Matthews as well. Matthews is actually going to be the closest to Mint Hill. It's right next door. It's about 7 miles away. And then just past that on that southern end of the Charlotte area is Ballantyne. And there's going to be a lot of shops in Ballantyne that you can also access. So for commute times, you can get to Uptown in like 22 to 55 minutes, depending on the time of day. Matthews is like, it's only 7 miles away. It's going to be sometimes though 15 to up to 30 minutes. So that southern end of that 485 loop where you would get to Matthews and Valentine, you do want to keep in mind that that's going to be the heaviest traffic. There's really popular, sought after areas of Charlotte. And there's just a lot of people living there, and there's not a whole lot of ways to get to and from. Basically are on 485 for the most part. Now it's going to be a little bit easier if you need to get north to areas like Huntersville or Concord, or just anywhere on that upper end of North Charlotte. It will be easier to get to and from those parts of the region. It's just less traffic. So it really does depend on where you live. The airport is about 20 to 30 miles away, but it can take 30 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. So if you work at the airport or you fly all the time, unfortunately, I don't think Mint Hill will be a realistic option, at least from talking to most people that work at the airport that I assist, they're just not able to live in Mint Hill. Going back to some of the details about Mint Hill here. So it has an A- rating on niche.com. It's ranked as one of the top 22 suburbs in the Charlotte area. It's a small area, as I mentioned several times. The population is like 27,000. The median age is 45, which is 11 years older than the median age in Charlotte. Charlotte, especially once you get right into uptown, it has one of the youngest demographics that I've lived or been to, basically. Like, it feels young. A lot of college grads who've been maybe out of college for a couple or a few years, you know, they're in their late 20s, they move to Charlotte and they get a job, you know, whether it's in corporate or just anywhere doing anything here in Charlotte. It's a really younger demographic, which I really love. I'm a little bit older, but I just love, like, the energy, the pace is going to be faster in Charlotte. You just see so many changes in almost every neighborhood there, you know, every few months. The median household income is technically a little bit higher than all of Charlotte in Mint Hill. So it's $92,000 per year, just 24% higher than what Charlotte is. Charlotte, I think, is like 75,000 or so. These stats don't always correlate. Like, once you get right inside of the uptown area, like, those incomes are quite a bit higher because of the cost of living. But keep in mind, Charlotte stats are going to take in the entire, you know, city, which has, you know, a lot of people. It's like 900,000 people in it. And the size of Mint Hill, it's pretty small. It's like 25 square miles. It's like 8% of the size of Charlotte. So I just want to reiterate, like, it's a small town feel. It is right next door to Charlotte though. So you can get to Charlotte, you can commute there for work, you can do all those things. The crime rate is pretty lower. It's lower there. It's ranked as a B-. 91% of those surveyed on niche.com say they feel pretty safe or very safe. And I completely agree with that, just from people I talk to and going there. You know, it feels very safe. You know, there are a lot of, you know, real pluses to living in Mint Hill. So the median price to live in Mint Hill right now for a single family home is $572,000. For townhomes, it's $376,000. So, you know, so 572. Now you have to sort of take this into context, right? Like, the median single family home in Charlotte is lower than 572. However, when you stack what you could get for 572,000 in Charlotte versus what you would get in Mint Hill, you are getting more in Mint Hill. You're going to be in a nicer neighborhood, and, you know, there's just going to be more amenities. It's going to either be larger or newer or a combination of both, with larger lot, probably a higher rating in school system, and all of those factors, right? So just keep that in mind when I'm giving you these prices. There are a lot of, like, newer construction, but keep in mind, a lot of these outskirts of Charlotte, like, most of the homes were built either in the late 90s, early 2000s, because it was always primarily just farmland. And so over the past 25 years or so, that has slowly kind of changed. And so you kind of have seen these developments pop up. But prior to that, you know, we don't have like 80, 90-year-old homes here, like in other parts of, like, the Northeast of the country, for example. Now, there will be some other homes that are going to be a little bit older. Maybe they were built in the 60s, 70s. You know, they'll be like those ranch style a lot of times, like built in the 60s. And those will often have very large lots, like an acre or more of land. Could be a couple of acres. And so those are going to be homes too that are going to be available in a place like Mint Hill. So that's, I mean, it's definitely, if these things sort of sound interesting, I would definitely consider Mint Hill as a potential place to live, just because of those pluses that you're going to get that they're hard to find when you're right inside of Charlotte. All right, so I'm going to do another video on some of my favorite neighborhoods in Mint Hill. And if you have any questions on anything real estate related, or there's a topic that you want covered, I'd love to hear, put those comments below and I'll do my best to answer them as best as I can. And thanks for watching.